Hello everyone, this is Heading Tian. In this video, we will learn chapter 8.4, compound interest. Please pause the video and read the first part, that's an introduction. A small story about this compound interest. In the first part of the question of the chapter, use compound interest formula. In previous video, we learned the interest I equals PRT. This is interest formula. And the future value A equals P times 1 plus RT. So in the compound interest, we will also use the formula of this, the future value formula. Compound interest is interest computed on the original principal as well as on an accumulated interest. In the table, we will see an example. For example, if you deposit P equals $1,000 to the bank, and the bank provides you the rate is 5% equals 0.05. That's the rate. So when the first year, if I still use the formula I learned from last class for the first year, at the beginning of the year, your principal is 1,000. So you deposit in the bank saving account, and then at the end of the year, your future value is $1,000 times 1 plus RT. That's 0.05. T is 1 because I'm looking for just a 1 year. Okay, so if for this question, we are using the compound interest. That means the bank will pay the compound interest bi-yearly, once a year. That means at the beginning of the second year, the principal is this amount, is the future value of the first years. That means the new A, maybe I put A1 here, A2 here. The new A means this amount of money, that is my new P, times 1 plus RT. Use the formula here. The new P, and then still times 1 plus RT. 1 plus 0.5. Oh, sorry, 0.05. That equals $1,000 times 1 plus 0.05 squared. And on the third year, this is my principal. So A3 equals, I put this amount of here as my new P, and then times 1 plus RT. So I got 1,000 times 1 plus 0.05 cubed. So let's continue to do that. For the nth year, at the end of the nth year, the AN is $1,000 times 1 plus 0.05 to the nth power, which means at the beginning you deposit to the bank. That's the principal or the present value times 1 plus R to the T. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a year. This is year. T. Oh, N year. Yeah, that's the same. Actually, if I put T here, T year, After t year, I don't use the n because later you will learn the formula, the n will confuse you. So at the end of the t's year, the formula we will get is p times 1 plus r to the t's year. Okay, let's move on to next part. This part provides you the formula. Calculating the amount in an account for compound interest paid once a year. If you deposit $P at a rate R in decimal form, subject to compound interest, then the amount A of the money in the account after T years is given by this. So remember here, the question is compound interest paid once a year. That means they paid you once a year. Let's continue to read. The amount A is called the account future value, and the principal P is called its present value. Let's see the example. You deposit $2,000 in a saving account at Hometown Bank, which has a rate 6%. So the P is 2,000. The R is 6%. That's 0.06. First question, find the amount A, future value, of the money in the account after 3 years. T is 3. Use subject to interest compound once a year. So we just use the formula we have learned, which is A equals P times 1 plus R to the T. T is 3. We plug in all the information. $2,000 times 1 plus 0.06 cubed, and use our calculator. Round up to 2 decimals. So I provide the answer here. So I just copy here. $2,382.33 this is the future value after 3 years. Second question is find the interest. So after 3 years, you will get this amount of money. The interest equals the future value A, subtract the present value. So remember, the interest in this part, how we compute it, equals the future value A, subtract the present value. That means is 2382.03, subtract 2,000. And we get 382.03. Let's move on to next part. Compound interest paid more than once a year. Let's clean up this part. Compound interest paid more than once a year. In previous question, we paid once a year the compound interest. If the bank paid you more than once a year, how to compute the future value? The period of time between 2 interest payment is called compounding period. Compounded annually. When compound interest is paid once a year, the compounding period is once a year. We say that the interest is compounded annually. Compounded semi-annually, the compounding period is 6 months. Compounded quarterly, the compounding period is 3 months. So when we say compounded annually, that means they pay you once a year. Compounded semi-annually, they paid you twice a year. That means every 6 months they will pay you the compounded interest. Compounded quarterly, that means the bank will pay you the compound interest 4 times a year. Okay, let's move on. In general, when compound interest is paid n times a year, that's we mentioned about here. N times a year, we say that they are n compounding periods per year. Let's see the table. Semi-annual compounding, that means they will pay you 2 times a year, so n equals 2. Length of each compounding periods. If for semi-compounding, they will pay you 6 months per year. Quarterly compounding, n equals 4. That means they will pay you 4 times a year. So every 3 months, they will pay you the compound interest. Monthly compounding, that means n equals 12. That means they will pay you totally 12 times compound interest a year. And the compounding periods is 1 month. That's every month they will pay you the compound interest. Let's move on to see the formula to find the future value of the paid n times a year, the compound interest paid n times a year. If you deposit P dollars at rate R in decimal form, subject to compound interest paid n times per year, when the amount A of money in the account after T years is given by this, A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the nth power. So you should memorize this. And look, if n equals 1, A equals P times 1 plus R, because n is 1, that the R over 1 is R, to the what power? To the t's power. So do you think it's very familiar to you? Because this is what we learned here. Because here is the compound interest paid once a year. So when we plug in the t equals 1, we got this. If n is a different number, that which means if they pay the compound interest paid 2 times a year, that means semi-annually. That means n equals 2, and we plug in the formula A equals P times 1 plus R over 2 to the 2t, because n is 2. The t here as it's just like the time we learned before. The unit is year. So if the question said, so after 6 months, so what's the future value? The 6 months is not 6 here. It's not 6. That's the half year. That's the 1/2 or 0.5. So when you see the information in the question, remember the t's unit is year. When you see after 6 months, how much future value you can get, here the t you need to plug in is 0.5, not 6. Okay, let's see the question. Let me clear this up. In the example, you deposit 7,500 in the saving account that has a rate of 6%. The interest is compounded monthly. So they provide us the P and the R. In the question, how much money will you have after 5 years? So T is 5. Use the formula A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT's power. So plug in all the information, find the future money after 5 years. The principal is 7500 times 1 plus R is converted to the decimals 0.06 over N. The compound monthly, that means N equals 12. They pay you 12 times a year. To the NT, N is 12, T is 5 years. So use your calculator to find the information. We get this answer. Number B, find the interest after 5 years. So the future value after 5 years is this. Use the future value, subtract the present value. That's the interest. So the interest equals future value A, subtract present value P equals 10116.38, subtract 7500, and then we got this amount of money. That's the interest after 5 years. Okay, let's see, calculate the present value. We just learned that the future value A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT. If I know the future value A, I know the R. I know the R, I know the N, I know the T. So I don't know the P. I'm looking for P. I need to isolate the P. So how to isolate the P? So divided by this term, both sides. That means A divided by 1 plus R over N to the NT's power equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT over 1 plus R over N to the NT. These two terms can be canceled. So P equals this amount. I can switch the position of P and the left-hand side. So P equals A over 1 plus R over N to the NT. If the question didn't provide you the formula, you can use the future value formula and convert it to the formula. We can find the present value. So let's move on to the question. The example, how much money should be deposited today is asking you the present value in an account that earns 6% compounded monthly, so that it will accumulate to 20,000 in 5 years. They provide you a lot of information. Look, compounded monthly, that means N equals 12. That will accumulate to this amount of money in 5 years. That means the future value A equals $20,000. T equals 5 years. That's 5. The amount we need today or present value is determined by the present value formula. So we can use the present formula, plug in all the information. Because the interest is compounded monthly, Tn equals 12. Furthermore, A future value equals $20,000. R, the rate is 0.06 and T equals 5. And this is the formula. Plug in all the information in it and use the calculator. We will get this amount. So let's practice this. Okay. If we use the calculator, actually I don't have I didn't download the digital calculator, but I can use a similar calculator to show you how to enter this information. Okay, so in this part, so we have 20,000 divided by all of this. So let's go to the calculator. We have 20,000 divided by, please use the parentheses. 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12, and then parentheses to the 12 times 5's power, and click this button. Look, can you see? Click this button and hit enter. We got 14827.443. If round up to 2 decimals, we keep 14827.44. Let's see the, okay, yes. If you want to keep 2 decimals, you just keep this. Oh, read the question, round up to. So what's the meaning of round the principal up to? So even you have 4 here, okay, let me clear up this side. Even you have 3 here, because if I want to keep 2 decimals, I just erase rest of them, because 3 is less than 5. But they said round up to 2 decimals. That means this part will be rounded to next digit is 5. So we have $14,827 and 45 cents. We don't keep 44 because we round up to the amount to 2 decimals. We keep 45, not 44. If the question said round to 2 decimals, so we keep 44, but this one is round up to. Okay, I think that's all about chapter 8.4. If you have any question, please let me know. You can email me or we can discuss the question in the tutoring session. Okay, have a good one.